Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to color sand like a pro. So you finish your paint job, you've applied your clear coat, and you wipe it down and you notice that the paint has all this orange peel all over it. Stay tuned, I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to remove that orange peel and get that show car finish. So I let this paint and clear coat sit for about a week and a half to 2 weeks before I started this step. And keep in mind that this is only going to work on paint jobs that are two-stage, so meaning base coat and a clear coat. So first thing you're going to do is wet down your surface and take a rubber block, and you're going to start sanding with 1500 grit sandpaper, wet sandpaper. And you're going to want to sand in just one direction. You don't want to sand in circles, and keep an eye on your edges. You don't want to rub too hard over your edges or you will burn through the paint. And as you're sanding, continuously dunk that sandpaper sponge in the bucket of water to keep it clean, and make sure you keep that paint surface nice and wet with a sponge. So this area right here, you can see where there's still some orange peel that's left over. That part hasn't been sanded and has to continue to sand with the 1200 until you see all of those spots removed. So right here I'm using a small 3M rubber squeegee to dry off the surface so I can see if there's any orange peel left over or not. Because you won't be able to see it once the surface is wet. You have to dry it, and then you'll start to see like any bumps or orange peel. Now for the larger areas, I am going to use a DA sander with 1500 wet sandpaper, and again I'm going to keep that surface wet and sand it down until you see all those orange peel spots removed once you dry the surface. So as you can see, there's a little bit of orange peel left right there. I'm going to go over that again with 1500, but using a block instead of the DA. Next, you're going to want to dry off your surface either by using compressed air or any other means you can. You just want to get that surface dry before you start to use the rubbing compound. Also keep in mind you can go again with 2000 grit sandpaper if you really want to get the orange peel out, but for that factory look, 1500 usually is good enough for that type of application. So what I'm applying here is a 3M Perfect-It rubbing compound, and I'll be using a wool pad on a variable speed buffer. And you want to set your buffer speed around 1200 RPM. So again, try and go in a straight direction, up and down, or left or right. Don't go in circular patterns. And keep an eye on the edges. You don't want the wheel to cut into an edge. You always want the wheel to turn away from an edge. So that's going to take some practice, but it's not that hard to master. I'm just going to glob it on right here. You probably shouldn't do that, but I was in a rush. So you're going to want to continue buffing the area until you have almost all of the haze removed from the paint after you wipe it down with a terry cloth towel. If you still see some haze there, you're going to want to buff it again. So this pad you see here that I'm using, the black one, is the finishing pad, and you would use that one after you went over the panel with the wool pad a number of times and removed all the haze. This will give it a much deeper shine to it, and will buff out any minute scratches that might remain from the wool pad. So I'm just going to speed up the video here, but you get the picture as to what I'm doing with this finishing pad. So I'm going to wipe off any extra residue with a microfiber towel. I said terry cloth earlier, but you should definitely use a microfiber. It definitely works a lot better in removing any excess glaze or polish. So let's take a look next morning, see how it came out. As you can see, there is still some orange peel there. If you want to make it completely flat, you would have to sand it down to 3000 or even 4000 grit using the DA. But for this application, I just went to 1500 and started polishing from there. Alright, so here's the finishing glaze I'm using with that black pad. It's Manzarna Finishing Glaze Pro 115C. One thing I forgot to mention is the speed of the polisher. When you're using the black pad, it should be a little lower RPM, around 900 to 1000 RPM. So that's what I have mine set at right now. When you're using the wool pad, you can speed it up to about 1200, 1500. And if you're really good, you can get up to 1800, 2000. But if you're a beginner, I wouldn't go anywhere near that speed. So again, final step will just be polishing out using a microfiber towel any remaining residue, and you'll start to see that shine. So let's take a look at the finished results. Now remember, this is brand new paint, but you can do this on an older paint job. That sanding that you do on that clear coat, that'll really help bring out the shine on an old car. You might want to test it out in a small area first, but I've seen it done where you can make like a 20-year-old car look brand new just by doing this. Well, thanks for watching this video on how to color sand like a pro. If this helped you out, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or questions, definitely put that down and subscribe for more.